Call this meeting to order Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, 7 p.m. City of Somerton Regular Council Meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag.
One nation.
Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jesus Roldan,
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando,
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo, Councilmember Martha Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilmember Juan Castillo,
Present.
Councilmember Lorena Delgadillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Gonna move on, call to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council? There's no one. We have a proclamation. It's Black History Month, 2023. And we have members of the NAACP. Gonna read some of the names, the ones that were early here. Thelma Lundy, Michael Lundy, Carlincia Steele, Jewel Brown, Ida Thomas, and Rodri Thomas, Vice President.
Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas in 1915, Dr. Carter Godwin Woodson, noted Black scholar and son of former slaves, founded the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas Dr. Woodson initiated Black History Week, February 12th, 1926, and for many years, the second week of February, chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, was celebrated by African Americans in the United States. And whereas in 1976, as part of the nation's bicentennial Black History Week, was expanded and became established as Black History Month, and is now celebrated all over North America. And whereas after the Civil War, many Black Americans sought a better life free from oppression and in search of new economic opportunities and the liberty to create their own lives. And whereas many African American settlers found their way to the Grand Canyon State, where they have made invaluable contributions in many professions and fields that continue to enrich the history and culture of our community. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our nation's attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Gerardo Anaya, Mayor of the City of Somerton, on behalf of the citizens of Somerton, do hereby proclaim February 2023 as Black History Month in the city of Somerton, and urge all citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is more just, peaceful, and prosperous for all.
Does anybody want to give a few words? And then I'm going to invite you to come and receive the proclamation.
Thank you very much, sir. Mayor and board members, I just wanted to say that was probably one of the best synopsis of Black History Month that I've ever heard. I mean, you guys, I went to Google and I went to a couple other search engines, and the information you have there is exactly the information I have in my pocket. So I'm not gonna really say anything else other than I'd like to say about history. We always have to keep history in mind, because if you don't, you're doomed to repeat it. And what we like to do is learn from history. So this is our way of saying the NAACP, thank you very much for this proclamation. It really means a lot to us. And we hope to see you again next year for the same proclamation and years to come. Again, thank you very much, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thank you. Want to come forward
At
and
this time, if you can come up and we'd like to take a picture. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you may leave if you'd like, just to let you know. Thank you for being here.
I'll see you next year. Bye. We're gonna move on to consent agenda. There's 4 items. We're gonna remove one for discussion, the 4th of July application. That's item number 4. Does any member of council want to remove another item from consent agenda? Okay, so we have 3 items in consent agenda: approval of minutes for December 20th, 2022, and approval of minutes for January 3rd, 2023, and approval of liquor license for Battle of the Chelada event on May 6th, 2023, approval of Arizona special event license. It wasn't liquor license, so the first one was special event license for Somerton Greater Days, March 18th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
So motion by Councilwoman Delgadillo, second by Vice Mayor Roldan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Mr. Galaviz, there's 4th of July special event license.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members, Vice Mayor. So I was kind of trying to brief everybody. We had working on fireworks for this year's 4th of July. We ran into some conflicting dates with the company. They decided this year to move and have their shows in another state. So one of the things that we're requesting is that for this year, at least, we change the date to July 1st, Saturday, to be able to have, to be able to coordinate with another fireworks company and celebrate our 4th of July, holiday on that Saturday. And that's why we'd like to, on the license, we have the day of the 4th, we'd like to change that to the 1st.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion? A motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez, second by Councilwoman Delgadillo. Also in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a presentation by Julie Engel from Greater Yuma Economic Development Corporation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I brought the most important member of our team, I think, out of the 2 of us here tonight, Greg Levan, my senior VP. He is going to take part of this presentation on as well. So we do have some new faces, and so we like to show what our primary assets are for this region, because we really want all of us singing from the same choir book and using the same statistics and data. So we always share this at the beginning of our presentation. So our leading industries have not changed very much over the last decade. However, we are branching out a little bit in all of these sectors, and in aviation and defense testing, we are now applying for our FAA licensing for a spaceport. And the spaceport is going to be down towards the border. And what we have learned in all of our research, we've been working on this project for about 5 years, is that space launches have a huge following. And so I am very, very excited about the future for Somerton and San Luis in the tourism industry, hotels, restaurants, the things that will support the launches as they start to happen. And so the fact that it's down here is very fortuitous for both of you. And I see, this will tie into another one of our industry sectors, which is food processing. And we have branched out in the food processing realm as well. And we have started a food commercial kitchen in Yuma, and we are going to try and expand that into South County. I want to compliment you on, you have really planted a flag, and you guys are naming yourselves a food hub with your tamale festival. And now in March, you're having your food festival, which inherently drives a lot of entrepreneurism in your community. And so with a commercial kitchen where they could actually go make their goods, and with our broadband investment, they can start selling these goods and really start a small business very, very lucratively. And so we are trying to create the ecosystems that support these things. And one of the things that we are going to bring into the community are funding models. We are working hand in glove with the Community Investment Corporation, and the Community Investment Corporation is a revolving loan fund that repays itself by the people that they loan the money to. Now, the people are given these loans at no interest. And these are for people who have barriers, who can't get traditional funding because, one, they either don't have any collateral to put up against it, or they haven't really been bankable. And another company is partnering with them, and this is called BrightFi Banking. And BrightFi Banking is our answer to all of the check cashing, because check cashing is really a predatory service that does take too much of a person's income to have the services that a bank should be providing. So this secondary bank is an online bank, and it is open to anyone who is interested. You do not have to have a credit history, and it is free. It is a free online banking product. So we are bringing these to the region, both of these products to the region, so that we can start growing this entrepreneurial network. And again, what Somerton has done with food is extraordinary, but Somerton also has a very healthy healthcare system that is driving a lot of the jobs and the necessary fulfillment that these require, the in-home nursing and things like this. So we have a childcare task force that we're trying to also address some of the needs that our employers are facing, and that is second and third shift coverage. So people who work in the evenings or people who work all night are really struggling to find childcare. Another opportunity for entrepreneurs. It's also an opportunity for students who are going to college or even still living at home and trying to raise enough money to do go to college or something like that. They could actually go into a home once they're certified, stay all night with these kids so that the parents do not have to worry that their kids are being uprooted at night or that their kids are being left unattended. So there's lots of things that we're working on that are really feeding into these industry sectors that we see Somerton playing a tremendous role in. And we're hoping to bring more assets to the community that will support these things that we're trying to grow. Again, very excited about the food opportunities here and expanding our commercial kitchen assets down here through Arizona Western College and Local First. I assume most of you have heard of Local First. It is the rural program for Arizona, and they are investing in resources. And there are so many resources available right now for these things and for entrepreneurs. Do I change this or? Okay, next slide, please. Excuse me. So here again, these are the assets that all of us should be touting so that we're all having the same message. That, we within a 60-mile radius, 1.8 million people, we're a very young region, which is very dynamic and important when it comes to workforce and what companies are looking for when they're choosing a location. So these are all the things that really do make us attractive. And so we need to have this message in everything we're doing. So we're sharing it with San Luis, we're sharing it with Somerton, we're sharing it with the city of Yuma. And everybody, it needs to be incorporating these points into all your messaging, because it is going to resonate for everything. It resonates for retail, it resonates for hospitality, and it resonates for manufacturing and food production. Next slide, please. And so another abundance of talent. There's a talent shortage. I'm sure you're all aware of that, and I hope none of you are suffering from it, but we are suffering in this region. And so we are very proud of the fact that we do have a large base to pull from, whether it be through our Marines, whether it be from our seasonal workforce that are trained and would be excellent year-round workers for other industry sectors. And then the manufacturing program that Arizona Western College has in Welton. And they have, what is it, 150 students? And growing. So this manufacturing program is going to be a catalyst for industries to want to come here. And one of the things that Somerton continues to do is be one of our main suppliers of workforce. So many of our companies, the people who work for them live and buy your groceries and gas here in Somerton. So Somerton is so important to everything that we're trying to accomplish. Next slide, please. So just one more thing I wanted to touch on, Greg, is I printed off, we do a quarterly statistic report, and it is delayed because it takes a while for all of the information to become public. But in that quarterly statistic report, there's some really interesting stats. And I went back to 2019-20 because I really didn't think it was fair to be comparing this year to last year, because last year we were still in that COVID bubble where retail sales and destination sales were impacted. So Somerton, very impressive here. Somerton's destination spending that happened in your community increased from 142.5 million to 503 million between 19 and this year, this first quarter that we just finished. So your food festivals are drawing people into your community, and they're spending money here and they're visiting here. And it is very impressive what is reflected in the dollars that are spent here. Now, those are dollars spent. What you have collected in restaurant and bar taxes is up 28.9%. And your first quarter of 2019 was 55 million, and the first quarter of this one is 67 million. So this is eliminating that COVID. You guys have grown significantly in your impact on this region, and your sales tax dollars are reflecting all of that. So you should be very proud of your Main Street is beautiful. I love driving here. I love being here because you have something that a lot of people try and recreate, and that is this hometown Main Street thriving activity here. And it's a really important asset to this region. So I'm going to turn it over to Greg now to talk about the projects.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good to see everyone this evening. So the information Julie just presented to you essentially allows us to get to this point where we have companies that are in our area that want to invest in our community and our region. And just to kind of take a step back for a moment, when we talk about this like grander regional information we present, we have to do it that way. We work with Marlene, we work with all of our economic development councils, because most of the projects we're competing for are going up against Phoenix, going up against Southern California, along with Nevada. And so we're competing for the most part for the projects that we want here with major metropolitan areas. And so by extension, we have to leverage our entire community. We can't just focus on one community, whether it be a city of Yuma, a city of Santa Luis, because we just won't win projects that way. And so everything we do is regional. Obviously, it's in our actual company name, but in our messaging, everything is based around 4 states, 2 countries, the power of a whole region, whether you're talking about Sonora, Baja, Arizona, and California. That's our pitch. That's what we're presenting to companies domestically and abroad as well. And actually tonight I have a couple of projects that I'm really happy to announce are really Somerton-based projects, even though they're in the county, but they're closer to your community than any other community in our overall area. The first one is Plug Hydrogen. So Plug Hydrogen actually is the largest manufacturer of hydrogen in America and one of the largest producers in the world. Plug Hydrogen has actually entered into a contract with Bright Night Energy to build a 300 megawatt solar facility off of County 19th Street and Avenue 4E. And Plug Hydrogen will actually take that power from the solar farm and use it to produce hydrogen that they'll sell to Nikola Motors, Lucid Motors, and into California. That project is going to be in excess of $325 million when fully complete. They're going to have 50 employees to start, averaging $60,000 a year, and then another 50 employees in phase 2 once they ramp up, which will be by 2027. Because they're so close to Somerton, like we see with many of our projects are either located in South County or in the southern portion of the city of Yuma, a lot of your residents are actually becoming employed by those opportunities. So we would see in an instance in where when the time comes for labor sourcing and even for job hiring, that we could have some of these labor job markets in your community to do so, because this really is a Somerton project based upon the location compared to the rest of our community. Second project here is True North Renewable Energy. They actually have already received their approvals from the planning and zoning of Yuma County. They're actually going to be in that same area, County 19th and 4E, and they are going to be producing green natural gas. Essentially, they're going to be diverting food waste from our landfills. They're going to be bringing it into an enclosed facility that's state of the art and essentially accelerating the decomposition and composting of that food, capturing that methane gas released, liquefying it, putting it into a pipeline, selling it to California as green natural gas for tax credits. This is another group that has already committed to hiring locally. They're going to start with approximately 45 jobs, averaging $80,000 a year, but then they have a phase 2 scheduled for that as well if everything goes well for them. So, you know, we are seeing these, we're calling these Somerton projects because even though they're not in your actual jurisdiction, you know, they're very close to you guys, and, you know, they see you being the closest community to kind of provide support for what they're doing. The next one I think you're familiar with, Rings Expansion, which is actually called Somerton Manufacturing. They're located on, I believe it's County 19th and, I don't know the cross street right now, but obviously they've adopted Somerton into their name of their company. They actually just reached out today. They have 25 employees currently, and they're planning to double that count to 50 employees once they build in their newest production line. This company produces fishing accessories for commercial fishing boats around the world. So like the big rings and riggers that you see on large commercial fishing boats, that's what they're producing here in this facility right here. They were in Mexico for many years. They were experiencing a lot of trouble, and so they wanted to come back domestically, make it in America, and they found this facility down here in the Somerton area, and so now they are producing and growing exponentially. They're actually now working on a sublease with another user to occupy that building to do other production, so that continues to grow and morph as well. Next one, Project Cleveland. This is a project that will be technically in the city of San Luis, but will be locating on Raleigh Airfield if they finally do decide to build. They have identified our area as a site location for where they want to expand in the West Coast. They have not committed to doing the project yet, but if they will move forward, it will be in Raleigh Airfield. And that's a project that will be upwards of 200 jobs. They are the largest sterilizer of medical devices in America. And this is a project that would be in excess of $100 million. So once again, all within a region that is obviously within Somerton, San Luis, and we foresee that those communities are going to benefit the most from a job collection standpoint. Going down the line, these other projects in San Luis, we just wanted to make you aware of it because of the fact that even though they're going to be by the border, obviously when your community members need to find jobs or looking for better opportunities, going south may be closer for some of them than actually going up into the city of Yuma. And so we know that these projects, whether it be Chicanos por la Casa spec development or a very large battery manufacturing project, or even Piana Expansion, who right now currently employs 18 Somerton community members out of their 33 employees come from Somerton. So we know all these projects have a direct effect with your community. So we just wanted to make you aware of the fact that no matter where it goes in the community, you know, it's going to impact everyone and benefit everyone. But obviously we're working to make sure that we bring as many projects to your backyard as possible. Any questions about that or any part of this presentation? Okay.
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're trying to bring as many back projects to our backyard. Are any of these actually in our yard? Which by that I mean in the area of Somerton proper, which is the city limits.
No, they're not, Councilman. Going back upwards, Plug Hydrogen needs over 300 acres of land. So that makes it pretty difficult to actually be in your backyard. And then also with the solar component, they need that. So it's another 1,000 acres. The True North Renewable Energy needed to be directly connected to a Southwest gas line and not near residential. So that's why they wanted to be a bit further out. But we are working with Marlene and I think a couple of sites that are actually in your city proper on developments that could work. Piana is one of them. Piana was a project when they came here. They looked at Somerton and San Luis. Ultimately, San Luis had a building to offer, and that's why they went there. But they did go through a process of looking to do a build to suit on the land owned by the Mellon family.
Okay. The reason that I ask is that we do invest in JYDC, and I, for one, I mean, I'm not speaking for all of council, but I do want to hear about stuff that's actually going on in Somerton that you guys are doing, not necessarily things that are going around in Yuma County. If anything that you put anywhere in Yuma County is a benefit to all of the communities. But let's be honest, certain projects are going to benefit certain certain cities more than others. So I do want to make sure that we are a focus of JYDC to bring in not only employment investors, whatever you guys want to call them, but I do want to see that, and lately I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And when I say Somerton, I mean the city limits of Somerton.
Sure, absolutely. And you know, when you talk about wanting to bring in hotels or other retail attractions that obviously would benefit the community directly, these are areas in which we do work with the city of whether it be Somerton or all of our cities to provide that value proposition, right? When you start talking about aggregating data that helps you to recruit those different developments, that's something that we certainly will support Marlene and your entire department on doing at any given time. As it relates to manufacturing, we are working with Carol Maloff, is that Carolyn Maloff, and the Mellon family to figure out how we do get that land to be developable for industrial manufacturing at some point in time as well.
And even though Plug and True North aren't in the city of Somerton proper, you are the closest community and you will be the one that benefits the most from both of those projects, even though it's not within the city limits. It borders you and you are the closest city. And maybe these really wouldn't work in any local jurisdiction because of the land mass that Greg was describing. They both need a lot of land mass. So if there's no other questions.
Any other questions or comments?
Do you want to talk about?
Sure, yeah. Probably going back to Councilman Villapando's question about working directly with Somerton, I would focus on Arizona Work and the Quest grant that recently we were awarded. I actually sit on the board, but then we also work very closely with that group. And that was about a $2 million grant to help support healthcare development in our community. And so that's an area in which obviously we're working very closely with them to support Regional Center Board of Health and their needs to continue to expand here. I know they have plans on expanding additionally within this community. And so that's an area where we're helping them to essentially allocate funds and then provide training to those healthcare providers so that you can continue to grow within Somerton. And then I'll focus on Arizona Commerce Authority. We are working with them right now on a grant essentially to get what they're calling accelerator for workforce training. The accelerator would actually go on the AWC campus, but actually would also be proliferated out into the community at the different installations that AWC provides for training. And so that also actually be an area in which you would actually benefit directly from those efforts. And then lastly, we are working with the state land department on essentially getting about 7,000 acres of land in that area we talked about where Plug Hydrogen is located to essentially become an economic development attraction tool for very large projects to come to our community. Currently, right now, you cannot go anywhere in Yuma County at all and find more than 1,000 acres of land. And even at 1,000 acres is only down by the border. It's one site. And so we know that some of these big projects that you hear about, you know, that are occurring in Phoenix and other areas require large tracts of land. And so we're working with the state right now to package land that they control and essentially turn around and market it to large groups to bring big projects that could be in excess, 1,000, 2,000 people, which at that point, obviously your community would be incredibly benefiting from that. So those are the areas where I can talk about.
Exactly. And so then also the federal aviation and the Yuma 50, these are related to the spaceport and then of course, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. We're running another economic impact analysis for the Marine base and one of the things that we have learned is that Somerton is one of the communities where they are living, because affordable housing is very hard to come by in Yuma. You are able to provide a closer proximity than San Luis and some of the other options that are out there. And so they are finding some houses that are more affordable in this community. So you are supporting our active duty. They are at capacity on base. There is an 18 to 24-month waiting list to get base housing. So they are forced out into the community to find housing, and you're one of the solutions that they have found. So we were glad to hear that as well, because it's a hardship, and we really don't have the wherewithal to build something quickly or to meet those needs. We're also experiencing the same thing with teachers. When we recruit new teachers, their salary is so low that it's very hard for them to afford new housing, and there isn't a lot of multifamily housing available. So again, this is an advantage that Somerton has when it comes to your housing market. So we're grateful for that. And the National Science Foundation, we have a tremendous grant application supporting San Diego, and we partnered with San Diego on the lithium extraction that is happening at the Salton Sea, and converting that lithium into battery materials. And then also we have an application with the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. We've partnered with healthcare. And that is, we will be a learning lab. And if we're successful in that grant, the investment that will come into Yuma County is staggering. It's a staggering amount of money, but it will grow our healthcare industry exponentially, put more people, instead of having to recruit from out of town, we'll be able to grow our own, which is always a barrier for us to get people to come to Yuma. And then if they have a trailing spouse, sometimes they only stay a year, maybe 2 at the most, and then they leave. And so we're hoping to grow our own, and that's what the Science Foundation money is earmarked for. So that's kind of it. That's what we're working on.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having us. Thank you. Thank you.
And move on to new business, discussion and possible action to enter into an agreement with Territorial Consulting Services for applying and administering community block grants through the Arizona Department of Housing and other grant opportunities.
Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. We bring this to you, this contract. Mrs. Galindo, we were currently working and contracting with Welton, working with that municipality. She has branched out on her own. And she has been doing all our CDBGs from beginning to end, and helping us with that funding. So she's requesting, $125 per hour for contractual. In the past, just to give you a brief update, in the past, we've spent anywhere from, $10,000 to $12,000 for these projects, and this would be about that same. Just because of the time frame, we'd like to have Mayor and Council approve, move forward with this contract, and we can reevaluate next year. But we need to start the process to be eligible for the $500,000 or more that is coming through CDBG for at least this year, the process. And we can address maybe some of the items in future CDBG proposals.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to enter into an agreement with Territorial Consulting Services for applying and administering community development block grants to the Arizona Department of Housing.
A motion by Councilman Castillo. Second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item number 2, discussion and possible action to approve letter of commitment for Yuma County Improvement District, known as Orange Grove.
Mayor and council, we have from Yuma County, Diana Veloz, and I don't know if Rachel Stallworth was going to present or not, but she's also here, and they'd like to give you a little bit of update on the project. They are looking for a letter of commitment from the city of Somerton to for funding purposes, but I'll let her explain a little bit on our presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and Vice Mayor. I'm here today to do just a brief presentation on the Orange Grove Rancho Mesa Verde sewer project. This is a project that has been in the works for quite some time. I would say more than probably 20 years. I came in back in 2014, and that's when that area was going to get their water. I did assist the city of Somerton and an environmental to apply for those fundings, so you guys can get water.
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh, yes. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so back then in 2014, we did apply for water in the area, and the whole point was to apply for water and sewer, but since there was only monies available for water, we went ahead and did the water project first. And then we did, after that, we did get more CDBG money to do a preliminary engineering report in that area and an environmental. So nothing happened back then in 2016. Then COVID happened and we weren't getting the improvement district for sewer formed until this year. We got it formed and we were able to apply to USDA for funding, and we did apply to NADBank for funding as well. So the project is to connect the Orange Grove and Rancho Mesa Verde area to sewer. That would be 332 parcels that would be connected to the sewer. There would be a force main that goes all the way to the to Avenue E, and then it would connect to the city of Somerton's collection system. It's a total of 58.1 acres, and everybody there right now is on septic, and those septics, can we go to the next slide? The reason this whole project came up is because those septics were installed back in 1970, and 40 years later, 45 years later, we have septic tanks that are failing. And in that area, those parcels, some parcels are way too small. And so now the zoning ordinances that when you're gonna put a sewer in, you have to have minimum setbacks. And that's not possible with some of those lots because they're so small. And the Orange Grove area, there is 2 streets that are not paved. And the reason they're not paved and we can't pave them is because those leach lines are actually in the road. So with this project, we are also looking at doing a design for the roads. So if you go to the next slide, please. So with our preliminary engineering report, we did have an update, and it was done in the summer of this year in the summer of 2022, last year. And with this, our consultant, Stantec, selected the best alternative, which is what you're seeing on the board now, which is a force main, an 8-inch force main that goes all the way down to Avenue E and then connects to a lift station that we would be the ones to construct that lift station. And then from there, it would go to lift station number 5. And then from there, it would go to your wastewater treatment plant. Can I see the next slide, please? So this is the sewer collection systems in Rancho Mesa Verde and Orange Grove area. There is a main line and there's laterals that everything connects to. It's pretty simple, a simple project, but it is actually, with the preliminary engineering report, it has come back at $20 million. So we are trying to get as many grants for it as we can right now. And so with that, our funder right now is NADBank, and NADBank has sent a letter to give us $500,000 towards the design of this project. The actual design is $1.3 million, so it's just a portion of the cost that it's gonna take to design. But they are asking Somerton to have a letter of commitment. So the letter of commitment is just getting them, you know, the security that they need to be able to give us that money. We would come back at a later date when we start, after the design is done, and we're going through that design to do an IGA with you guys to make sure that the rates that are in place would stay the same. And this letter of commitment is just saying that we will be able to connect to your wastewater treatment plant. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I have questions here. You know, I emailed some questions. Manager, you know, I think something to take that council needs to consider is, you know, prior meetings, we did agree on this matter. Give this better, we will lock the rate in for the next 4 years. So kind of seem unfair for residents within, you know, some are getting any, some are not. That's one of the things that I also, you know, I would, you know, this, you know, how we affect our future growth regarding that capacity, and how much will this cost us short-term? $20 million project, from what if I'm.
It wouldn't cost the city
What if it would-
anything on that end of it, no.
Quick, Councilman Castillo, just so I want to point out, and so this is a new project to me, so I've been trying to follow up, and so I was able to speak, Carmen and I were able to speak to Mr. Palacios regarding this item before the meeting. And one of the things that we wanted, he shared with me, and I don't want to share tonight, is, you know, our capacity right now, our usage is about 0.8. And we have 1.8 million of a capacity. So he shared with me if capacity, he feels very comfortable, just because we would have to double the size of Somerton to be at full capacity for the city. Now, on the long term, that is something that we definitely would have to look at. I wouldn't have that answer tonight for you. But also, this letter is a template, just speaking with Diana. And so tonight, really, I think we would look for direction to move forward with a letter, but with legal, but something that would be, wording that would be comfortable for mayor and council to move forward with this. And so I just want to share that with you.
And, one of my concerns was, as Councilman Castillo mentioned, was the rates or locking the rates. We're providing currently water, and I know that there's an escalator there because of not being within the Somerton city limits. So that's probably something that we need to take into account, that they're not going to be paying the same as our taxpayers are paying, because we're providing a service. So we got to kind of come up with something, and maybe we can consult with the person that does our rate and see what would be something that within the next, 5 years, that we would have to lock a rate that we can at least have something that takes into account the increases that we approved, and also the paying a premium for the service we're providing outside our city limits.
And I think we can definitely work with Mrs. Veloz on wording with legal to make sure that maybe even making that adjustment and what's available of not locking in, but at least committing to, maybe the current rate, something like that. So we can definitely look at that and making sure that, like Mr. Castillo said, we're not locked in and it's fair across the board.
And something we've assured our residents every time we speak about this is that we're not gonna use any taxpayers' money or at least city of Somerton taxpayer to finance this. And that's something that needs to be clear to this letter.
We will definitely
We've
keep
done
that in mind.
Similar with the water to La Mesa and also Valley Vista, we provided these services to our neighbors.
Understood, Mayor.
Mayor and I
If I
just
may-
wanted to let you know that the rate lock would be just for the actual hookup service. It wouldn't be for the rate that you guys are charging now for that water. It would just be for the connection fee.
Okay.
Mhm.
Councilman Villalpando?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I also have an issue with locking all these rates because obviously, we got to give ourselves the flexibility to fluctuate depending on our costs. As we all know, each year material keeps going up, and if for some reason we have to do anything, we want to be able to maintain that flexibility. Well, I would like to recommend that we do get an engineering company and we do have them assess the plan provided by Yuma County for one reason. The main reason is that whatever we put in our system is going to have an impact on our system. And I just want to make sure that we do have the capacity and we don't have to upgrade force mains or whatever might be due to this. So I do
Mayor
feel
Anaya,
me
Councilmember
finish, please?
Villalpano, we,
would you let me finish, please?
oh, go right ahead.
Yes, and so my recommendation is that we review this on our own as well to make sure that we're okay on our end, especially with the existing system in city limits.
Veloz?
Can I
Yeah,
speak
go
now? Okay, Mayor and council members, there has been an assessment done by the city of Somerton, and we did receive a letter from Pace Engineering, which is City of Somerton's engineering company, with a couple of points. And we're addressing those at the moment, so.
Thank you.
Diana, the letter of support or commitment that you need, does it need to be, the rates locked or just?
No, it does not. It does not. We can change that. This is just a template. It was just for the city of Somerton to come up with a commitment letter, and it's not something that's locked in. We can change some words on it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Before Sarah, would we take action and then have you guys work on that amendment letter to ensure that, you know,
Right, I think we're looking for direction so that we can work with legal and with the county to come up with a letter that would be supporting the project, because this has been a long project that's been coming but at the same time protecting the city from making sure the commitments are going to be able to stand.
Okay, so, yeah, so we're gonna,
Mayor,
yes,
Mayor, if I may, can we please direct staff to provide that report by Pace Engineering? Because I don't think any of us have seen it.
And Councilman Villalpando, just to let you know, Sam emailed that, and like I said, I'm learning on this project, so I will definitely send that out tomorrow to all of you. And there is some questions that Pace pointed out to the county, like Ms. Veloz mentioned that they'll work on addressing. But well, you can see that when I send it out.
Thank you.
thank you.
so
Just
I'll
do it.
make a motion to table this item, and that way there's time, for you to work with our, city staff and get the wording, um, you know, the proper words, before we make the motion. Make the motion
So-
to table.
So motion by Councilman Castillo, Castillo.
Just quick question, Mayor, before I make a decision. Do we have a time frame or is it something that we need to?
I think it should be addressed as soon as possible,
Okay.
Councilmember.
For next
Go
council
ahead.
meeting.
So
we'll
next
be
council
there.
meeting.
The next
For the
council.
next council meeting in 2 weeks.
Yes, Mayor.
We're-
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds great. Thank you.
So isn't it a motion just to agree
Table
to the, no, but I mean,
Direction.
the item on the agenda was just in order for us to agree to a
do
letter of commitment?
Letter of commitment, but there's recommendations by council members that they want to see that language before.
Yeah,
And
I
the
thought,
report before we approve it, but.
Yeah,
what is?
I would want to
okay.
see the recommendation before I take a motion on a letter.
But you can make a counter motion and see where it goes.
I know how I was understanding it was just to make a motion for them to work on a letter of commitment. That's how I understood the item. That's why
Okay,
I was
okay. That, is that correct?
Yes, Mayor. It was just to move forward with the commitment letter. Just
Does that
making
change
sure,
your
we-
motion?
I wanted to present this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that will change my motion.
Okay.
Because we're just waiting for you guys to give you that permission to talk about it. And then you guys are gonna present the letter to us
That's
for
how I
final
understood.
approval.
Okay.
And yeah, that changes my motion. I guess I.
Okay,
Well, but the item on the agenda says action to approve a letter of commitment.
Right, and that's if you were,
Enter into discussion. Yeah,
Right.
that's what got me.
so. But like I said, we can do it whatever way you want. If you want to table it, we can bring it back for the next meeting for your
I think we
approval.
have the same outcome.
Yeah.
Be the same.
Yeah, the motion is just suggested action, but you can come up with your own requirement and motion, sir.
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Okay, and this, also to Councilman Castillo, I mean, I think we could do the letter and then, iron out those fine details depending on what we see as far as the report. But I do want it, I do not want to include the, rate lock on that letter.
So now this is going,
I would,
So I'll make of that motion and hopefully that'll be okay.
does that work? But
So there was a Councilman Castillo, we
Table.
have, there has to be a second. If there's no second, then we can move on the second motion. So what, we need a,
I'll second
Address that one.
Councilman Castillo
What was the motion now?
Okay,
to table.
My original motion was.
to table it.
Yeah.
Then I withdraw mine.
Table this item so that city staff and Yuma County get together and create this, support letter and then present it to us with the details.
Yes. Okay. So motion by Councilman Castillo, I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and I and Councilmember.
Thank you, Dan.
Summary of current events.
yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll have Carmen Juarez, our DBC manager, begin.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I am working with all departments on the review of the fiscal year, mid-year. Have been scheduling for meetings for this week and next week to ensure that all the line items and the CIP items are budgeted and they don't go over the limit. I am also working with Marcus Arbuckle, our accountant, on presenting you a mid-year report as soon as possible. I am also working with all departments on the new budget for fiscal year 2024. I have created a budget timeline to include specific dates for staff meetings, for council retreat, and ensure the adoption process goes in a timely manner. A meeting has been scheduled with the Procurement Policy Committee to restart the update process. This meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 13 at 4 p.m. here at City Hall. And after this meeting, I should be able to prepare a timeline to go through the adoption process of the procurement policy update. I also have Public Works.
Yes, go ahead.
From Public Works Department, the Somerton Heights water replacement and roadway improvement. This is a CDBG project. The pre-construction meeting was held on Friday, January 27 at Somerton City Hall as well. Contractors submitted all the material submittals. Tentative construction starting date will be next week on February 15th. The water tank rehabilitation project. This project is basically 100% complete. Contractor is performing the tank disinfection. Tank should be in operation by the end of next week. There's also a pavement preservation program ongoing. The Streets Department started the crack seal, currently working at Las Estrellas subdivision on the north side of the subdivision, which is phase 4. And lastly, the mechanic shop is scheduling a cleanup and inventory day on Tuesday, February 21st. And we are being assisted on that one with from Arturo Durazo, our building inspector. He will be organizing this operation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Community Development, Saud.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to update you on the ongoing zoning and subdivision code update. I heard from the consultant, Michael Baker, that they will be delivering the first draft of the new zoning and subdivision code within 2 weeks. So something to look forward to there as we continue the process. Next, I have an update on the Sunset Clinic that is potentially going into lot number 1 of the Parkview subdivision, Parkview Commerce Center. I heard from the contractor that they are moving forward with the design stages of the project. So that project might be coming into the submittal stage pretty soon. And then lastly, an update on the Somerton 1898 subdivision. The technical review of the final plat is just about completed, and that'll be presented to you very soon for approval. Thank you.
Human Resources, Armando.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. So we're still actively recruiting for Public Works Director. That continues to be a challenge. We have also the city attorney still open, not getting much activity on that one. We just posted the city magistrate so this week. So that's we're starting that process. Although I'm encouraged by that one because we are getting early activity. Some good candidates are applying within the first couple of days. So that one is a little bit more promising. We have a planner position open. We're going to fill it with either planner 1 or planner 2, depending on qualifications. And we're also actively recruiting for firefighters and police officers as well. In addition to that, we just posted lifeguards. We're anticipating a big lead time so we can fill the lifeguard positions as well as some additional maintenance positions in parks and streets.
Thank you. Chief Juarez.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Something really short. Pepalooza went very well. We did have a couple bites and we were able to handle that at the scene. SMS school, the Somerton Middle School, I'm sorry? It was dogs biting humans. So that was sorted out, but it went very, very well. The Somerton Middle School had a lockdown during the week. It wasn't anything major, but we're very appreciative of the staff that called in, and the district moved right away in locking the premises of the middle school. So we were able to follow up, and it was a young man that we're following up with. So the situation was under control. The last thing I have is 2 announcements. The pancake breakfast this Friday. I'm inviting all city staff, spoke to the city manager, and we're inviting everybody to the fire department Bay Area from 8 to 10 a.m. So we'll be making some pancakes in appreciation to all the staff. And then on the 18th, which will be that's 2 Saturdays from now, we'll have another event, another pancake event for the community. We'll be sending out and posting out some media information on that. That'll be from 8 to 11 a.m. Bay Area at the fire department as well. Thank you.
And so they're putting a little twist on coffee with a cup. It's pancakes with a cup. So, Chief Hernandez wasn't able to be here tonight, but he just wanted to let you know they're working on EMTs, full-time employees. The engine's out and it's working, so being worked on. They'll receive an email that the cost will increase to repair it future. So we're looking at that. And so we'll have next up Parks and Rec, Angelica Roda.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I want to start saying thank you to all of our Parks and Recreation staff for the hard work this past weekend and a job well done at Pitpalooza and golf tournament. A special thanks to Police Department, Fire Department, IT, Economic Development, Finance, and volunteers that assisted. Also, I would like to say thank you, our Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members that participated at our golf tournament. We have Flag Football League comes to an end. Next week, championship game and closing ceremony will be on Thursday, the 16th. We would like to invite Mayor and Council to form a team for spring games that is coming up on Saturday, March 11th. If you would like to form a team, you can let us know. The staff will be meeting tomorrow with Mr. Rogers from Arizona Parks and Trails to discuss current grant and possible funding for future projects. Thank you.
And then Marlene Lara, Economic Development.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. The Economic Development Department also serves as a public affairs arm. Therefore, under this capacity, we invite the community to follow the City of Somerton social media pages and routinely visit the city website to learn more about every department and our ongoing projects, events, and open positions. This said, please stay tuned in our social media platforms to learn of the upcoming ribbon cutting ceremony date for the pet clinic. The date is still up in the air, but we are considering March 1st. To learn more of the pet clinic services, their website is thepetclinic.vet. This is a very important step for our City of Somerton to have this pet clinic. And then thank you, GYDC, Julie and Greg, for the presentation and for all the support. Thank you.
And then Mayor, I just want to close with, we have Judge Figueroa's event this Friday. So we hope to see you there. We're definitely working on the budget retreat. We hope we have our finance director, new finance director will be starting on Monday. Councilman Grijalva will be visiting here in Somerton. And so I'll be sending out information. We'd like to thank him and maybe do a picture op in front of the water tanks. So I'll pass on the information of when he'll be here and the time, and hopefully he'll be available. And that's all I got.
Councilman Villalpando.
Mayor, thank you. I just want to thank Parks and Rec and the senior center there for putting on this golf tournament. It was really a really good tournament. I thought it was well attended, well organized. So I just want to say on my behalf, good job on that tournament. That's it, Mayor.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I was able to attend the Pitpalooza. Weather worked in our favor, so it was a really nice event, and a lot of pet owners. We also had the last vaccine clinic. We had about a little bit over 50 people attend, and our next clinic is going to be held February 16th at the same cultural center from 3 to 6.
Councilman Castillo.
I just want to thank, city manager, mayor, and everyone that attended our the opening of Baby T Soto School. So thank you guys for taking the time and attending. Also, the golf tournament, like Councilmember Villalpando mentioned, there was a great turnout. Everything went well. I'm curious to know who won the truck, the raffle. So you can let me know later. So yeah, blue one. It was. I had to leave early, so I left my raffle tickets. So, Pepalooza, I heard great things from our residents. So good job for all staff that was involved. And I know you mentioned that there's going to be that closing of some of our sports. I think flag football. There is a Somerton resident that sings the national anthem very beautifully. So if you need her, let me know. She sings at baseball at KOFA. I believe she's like 15 or 16 years old. But so I just thought that'd be great if we can. We could use her. So if you do, just let me know. And that's all I have, man.
Councilwoman Castillo,
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
I also attended the golf tournament for the seniors, and it was nice to see seniors also attended to receive or to give the prizes and also the teams that won, that just to give the money back to them. I think that's one of the here in Somerton that we always support those seniors, and for us to let them know that we do that, and for them to be present, it was a good thing for them. They were having a good time. I think we all had a good time there participating. I won the hole in one, but I didn't want to claim it. So, that's all.
And I also want to thank Parks and Rec. They were busy this Saturday with the golf tournament and Pepalooza. I saw Angelica going back and forth. So thank you. And thanks to all the city staff that participated. And we had our forefronted meeting last week. And also the YMPO meeting. And on Thursday, the GYDC meeting. I'm going to be attending that meeting. And next week, I'm gonna be shooting the state of the city. So that's next week. And that's it. Well, we have 2 items in the executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn into executive session?
So moved.
So motion by Councilman Rosal, second by Councilman Castillo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.